The research vessel, Viril Ascendant, orbited Earth, its sleek silver hull glinting against the blue-green jewel below. The ship's crew, a mix of scientists and explorers from various advanced species, had come not for diplomacy, but to study the infamous Deathworld and its inhabitants. Earth's reputation preceded it, a world where the environment was so hostile, its creatures so aggressive, that the very notion of life thriving here was a contradiction. Commander Rahl, a crystalline Boltharian whose neural structure gleamed with refracting light, addressed his crew. "This mission is not one of conquest or interference. We are here to observe and understand. Let no one forget the warnings. Earth is a death world for a reason." The first destination was the Amazon rainforest. As their shuttle descended into the dense, pulsating jungle, the crew marveled at the kaleidoscope of life below. Towering trees stretched toward the sky, their canopies alive with sound. Rivers twisted like shimmering veins, their waters teeming with creatures. "This is chaos," murmured Dr. Lyon, a Xyloran biologist whose amphibious form quivered with both excitement and unease. The team stepped into the jungle, their environmental suits adjusting to Earth's atmosphere. Within minutes they encountered their first shock. A jaguar, its golden eyes gleaming like molten fire, emerged silently from the undergrowth. It prowled within meters of the group, its muscles rippling beneath its spotted coat. "Why does it not attack?" whispered a trembling scientist. "Because it doesn't need to," replied Lyon, her voice barely audible. "It knows it can." The jaguar regarded them for a long, heart-stopping moment before slinking back into the shadows. The crew stood frozen, their alien physiology struggling to process the sheer presence of a creature that could end them in seconds, yet chose not to. But the jungle's dangers weren't limited to its predators. A sudden, loud buzzing filled the air, and the crew turned to see a swarm of wasps descending on a hapless monkey. In seconds, the monkey was overwhelmed, writhing in agony before falling limp. The crew recoiled as one. "Even the insects here are lethal," exclaimed Rahl. "And yet humans dominate this environment," Lyon said, her voice tinged with awe. "They survive and thrive among these terrors." The next stop was Antarctica. Stepping onto the icy expanse, the crew felt the biting wind even through their advanced suits. Temperatures so low they would freeze their homeworlds in an instant, whipped across the barren, desolate landscape. "How do they endure this?" asked Dren, a reptilian Dralvek, shivering despite his thermal regulators. The team observed a human research station. Through their scanners, they saw scientists in heavy gear hauling supplies across the ice, their breath forming clouds in the freezing air. A few humans were even laughing, joking, and throwing snow at one another. "They play?" Dren's scales flared in astonishment. "In this environment, it's madness." "It's adaptation," Lyon corrected. "Their ability to find joy even here is extraordinary." The crew watched as the humans collected samples and conducted experiments, their ingenuity in creating tools to survive in such an inhospitable place a testament to their resilience. Despite the hostility of the environment, humanity had carved out a niche for themselves, refusing to bow to nature's wrath. The crew's next stop was the Serengeti, where Earth's apex predators roamed freely. The aliens observed a pride of lions stalking a herd of wildebeest. The precision, the cooperation, the sheer lethality of the lions left the crew speechless. "This is what humans evolved alongside," Rahl said, his crystalline form dimming as he processed the implications. "These predators are terrifying." Yet what stunned them more was a nearby human tribe. The humans, armed with nothing but spears and bows, hunted alongside their trained dogs. The sight of humorously tracking such dangerous creatures left the crew baffled. "They hunt predators for sport?" one of the scientists asked, incredulous. "They hunt them for survival," Lyon corrected. Sport came later. Finally, the crew visited a human city, expecting chaos and hostility. What they found instead was astonishing. The city teemed with activity. Cars zipped down streets, pedestrians walked with purpose, and buildings scraped the sky. The aliens marveled at the sheer density of the population and the intricate systems that made the city function. The most shocking moment came when they observed a construction site. A human worker slipped and fell several meters onto the concrete below. The crew watched in horror, expecting the worst, but the worker stood, dusted himself off, and waved to concerned colleagues. "How is he not dead?" asked Rahl, his crystalline edges vibrating in disbelief. Lion scanned the human's vital signs. Bruises, minor fractures, but his body is already compensating. Human resilience strikes again. The aliens were further astonished when they observed humans using humor to diffuse tension in stressful situations. A group of workers laughed and joked even as they handled dangerous equipment, their camaraderie turning potentially deadly scenarios into moments of levity. Back aboard the Virile Ascendant, the crew analyzed their findings. What they discovered left them speechless. Humanity's evolutionary path was a tapestry of survival against impossible odds. Their immune systems were robust, their ability to adapt was unparalleled, and their psychology, marked by resilience and creativity, enabled them to thrive where other species would perish. What makes them truly extraordinary, Lion said, addressing the crew, is not just their biology, it's their will. They don't simply endure, they find ways to thrive in the unlikeliest conditions. Rahl, still processing the data, nodded. They are not the most advanced, they are not the strongest, but they are the most adaptable, and that makes them dangerous. Lion added, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and admiration, and yet they're not conquerors. They don't seek to dominate. They seek to learn, to connect, to cooperate. That may be their greatest strength. The crew unanimously agreed to report back to their respective governments. Humanity, once dismissed as a curiosity, was now recognized as a force to be respected and perhaps feared. As the Virile Ascendant left Earth's orbit, Commander Rahl glanced back at the planet, a shimmering blue dot against the vast darkness of space. Deathworlders, he said softly, but perhaps the galaxy's greatest hope. The Galactic Council convened in the crystalline halls of Etherion Prime, its grand chamber glittering with refracted starlight. Delegates from hundreds of species, each a beacon of their civilization's pride, sat in their floating platforms, suspended above a sea of pulsing energy. At the center of the room, a holographic display projected the findings from the Virile Ascendant's mission to Earth. Commander Rahl's voice echoed through the chamber, recounting his crew's observations. The holograms displayed jaguars prowling the Amazon, humans laughing in the Antarctic cold, and tribes fearlessly hunting apex predators on the Serengeti. The murmurs of the council grew louder as the data progressed, culminating in the recording of a human construction worker casually shrugging off a fall that would have killed most species. They thrive where no one else can, Rahl concluded, his crystalline edges dimming with the weight of his words. Their biology, their psychology, their adaptability, humans are unlike any species we have encountered. If we do not seek alliance, we risk facing them as adversaries. The room fell into a heavy silence. The Xyloran delegate, a sleek amphibian, was the first to speak. Alliance or containment? Is it wise to invite them into the galactic fold when they may one day surpass us? They already surpass us, countered Venthal, the Orax scientist who had recently collaborated with humanity. Containment is futile. They will find a way to overcome it, as they always do. We must make them our allies, not our enemies. After hours of deliberation, the council voted. An envoy would be sent to Earth to establish diplomatic ties. The mission was critical. Humanity must be approached with respect, their trust earned through transparency. But beneath the Council's official stance, unease lingered. The humans were a paradox, beings who evoked both awe and fear. The Galactic Envoy, a delegation of representatives from 6 major species, descended through Earth's atmosphere in a gleaming diplomatic vessel. On board, the ambassadors reviewed humanity's dossiers with growing trepidation. The leader of the envoy, a towering Boltharian named Krivaris, adjusted his crystalline plating nervously. "Remember," he said, his voice resonating like chimes, "we are not here to provoke. We are here to learn. Respect their customs, and perhaps we will earn theirs." As the ship touched down in the heart of New York City, the ambassadors were immediately struck by the chaos of Earth's largest metropolis. The noise was overwhelming, honking vehicles, shouting vendors, and the constant hum of humanity in motion. The air was dense with scents, fried food, fuel exhaust, and the faint tang of salt from the nearby sea. "They live like this," whispered a Xyloran ambassador, their gills flaring in disbelief. "This is madness." "It's harmony," Krivaris replied, though his tone betrayed uncertainty. "A chaotic harmony." The humans were waiting. A delegation led by President Ellen Marlowe, flanked by security and cultural advisors, greeted the aliens with practiced smiles and firm handshakes. The ambassadors, accustomed to more formal gestures, were momentarily taken aback by the physical contact, but quickly adapted. "Welcome to Earth," Marlowe said warmly. "We've prepared a tour to give you a glimpse of who we are. We hope you'll find us enlightening." The first stop was a human research facility in the Nevada desert. The ambassadors were introduced to technologies ranging from cutting-edge robotics to experimental energy systems. What shocked them most wasn't the technology itself. Many species had achieved similar feats, but the sheer speed of innovation. Researchers explained how their prototypes evolved within months, sometimes weeks, through relentless trial and error. "How do you achieve such progress without centralized neural coordination?" an Orax scientist asked, their multifaceted eyes blinking in astonishment. A human engineer grinned. "We just keep trying. If it doesn't work, we learn and try something else. Failure's part of the process." The concept was alien. Most species preferred perfection before execution, avoiding failure at all costs. Yet humanity had turned failure into a stepping stone. Next, the delegation visited Yellowstone National Park. Here, the ambassadors witnessed Earth's raw, untamed beauty, geysers erupting in plumes of steam, vast herds of bison grazing, and wolves moving like shadows through the trees. The humans explained their efforts to preserve such ecosystems, even as their cities expanded. "This world is both fierce and fragile," Lion remarked, her amphibious skin glistening under the sun, "and yet you protect it." Marlowe nodded. "We've learned the hard way. Our survival depends on this planet. It's not just our home. It's a part of us." The ambassadors fell silent, their thoughts swirling. On many advanced worlds, ecosystems had been sacrificed for technological progress. Yet here was a species fighting to maintain balance, even after centuries of exploitation. The final leg of the tour took the delegation to Cape Canaveral, where they observed humans preparing for deep space exploration. Rockets towered against the skyline, their surfaces gleaming in the sunlight. Engineers worked tirelessly, their determination evident in every gesture. "They're reaching for the stars," Krivaris murmured, his crystalline form shimmering. Even as they struggle with their own world, they look outward. A human astronaut approached the group, her voice brimming with excitement. "Our next mission is to establish a permanent colony on Mars. We've always been explorers. It's in our nature." "Explorers," Krivaris echoed, but in his mind another word lingered: conquerors. As the tour concluded, the ambassadors convened in a secure chamber to discuss their impressions. The mood was tense, a mixture of admiration and unease. "They are incredible," Lion admitted. "Their adaptability, their resilience, their drive, they could achieve anything." "And that is precisely what makes them dangerous," an Orax delegate countered. "What happens when their ambitions clash with ours?" Krivaris raised a hand, his crystalline form glowing softly. "We must not think in terms of fear. Humanity's strength lies in cooperation. They thrive because they build connections, with each other, with their world. If we offer them trust, they may extend the same to us." The Council voted unanimously to propose an alliance. Humanity would be invited to share their knowledge and resources, but the galaxy would remain vigilant. The humans were an enigma, both a potential ally and a potential threat. The official alliance ceremony took place under the stars, aboard a massive orbital station. As representatives of Earth and the Galactic Council signed the agreement, a sense of cautious optimism filled the air. President Marlowe addressed the assembly. "We are honored to join this galactic community. Humanity has always sought to grow, to learn, and to connect. Together, I believe we can achieve wonders." Krivaris stood beside her, his crystalline plating refracting the light. "And we, the Galactic Council, welcome humanity not as conquerors, but as partners. Let this be the beginning of a new era." As the ceremony concluded, the delegates exchanged hopeful glances. Yet deep in their hearts they knew the truth. Humanity's potential was limitless, and with that came an ever-present edge of fear. For now, the alliance stood. But the galaxy would never forget the warning etched into Earth's history. A Deathworld species could be both savior and destroyer.